Brooklyn Beckham has posted a huge statement slamming his famous family. Here is everything he said in full. I have been silent for years and made every effort to keep these matters private. Unfortunately, my parents and their team have continued to go to the press, leaving me with no choice but to speak for myself and tell the truth about only some of the lies that have been printed. I do not want to reconcile with my family. I'm not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life. For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. The performative social media posts, family events, and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of my life I was born into. Recently, I have seen with my own eyes the lengths that they'll go to place countless lies in the media, mostly at the expense of innocent people. My parents have been trying to endlessly ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. My mum cancelled making Nicola's dress in the 11th hour despite how excited she was to wear her design, forcing her to urgently find a new dress. Weeks before our big day, my parents repeatedly pressured and attempted to bribe me into signing away the rights to my name, which would have affected me, my wife, and our future children. They were adamant on me signing before my wedding date, because the then terms of the deal would be initiated. My holdout affected the payday, and they have never treated me the same since. During the wedding planning, my mum went as far as to call me evil because Nicola and I chose to include my nanny Sandra and Nicola's nonny at her table because they both didn't have their husbands. Both of our parents had their own tables equally adjacent to ours. The night before our wedding, members of my family told me that Nicola was not blood and not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I've received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that were sent to the press on their orders. Even my brothers were sent to attack me on social media before they ultimately blocked me out of nowhere this last summer. My mum hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance, to a romantic love song in front of our 500 wedding guests. Mark Anthony called me to the stage, where in the schedule it was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mum was waiting to dance with me instead. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never been more uncomfortable or humiliated in my life. We wanted to renew our vows so we could create new memories for our wedding day that brings us joy and happiness, not anxiety and embarrassment. My wife has been consistently disrespected by my family no matter how hard we've tried to come together as one. My mum has repeatedly invited women from my past into our lives in ways that were clearly intended to make us both uncomfortable. Despite this, we still travelled to London for my dad's birthday and were rejected for a week as we waited in our hotel room trying to plan quality time with him. He refused all of our attempts unless it was at his big birthday party with 100 guests and cameras at every corner. When he finally agreed to see me, it was under the condition that Nicola wasn't invited. It was a slap in the face. Later, when my family travelled to LA, they refused to see me at all. My family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family love is decided by how much you post on social media or how quickly you drop everything to show up and pose for a family photo op, even if it's at the expense of our professional obligations. We've gone out of our way for years to show up and support at every fashion show, every party, and every press activity to show our perfect family. But the one time my wife asked for my mum's support to save displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mum refused. The narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. I have been controlled by my parents most of my life. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. For the first time in my life since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared. I wake up every morning grateful for the life I choose and have found peace and relief. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. All we want is peace, privacy, and happiness for us and our future family.
Brooklyn Beckham spilling all of the Beckham family tea, but this comment about his mom at his wedding. He said, "My mom hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance to a romantic love song, in front of our 500 wedding guests. Mark Anthony called me to the stage, wherein the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mom was waiting to dance with me instead. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life." Now, what was Victoria Beckham doing up on that stage waiting for you to dance inappropriately? Like, what?
Victoria Beckham might actually have to reunite with the Spice Girls to distract from all of this, because if you saw the way I clutched my non-existent pearls. Yes, I read all 6 slides of Brooklyn Beckham's statement. I'm unemployed. Now, what I find interesting, and I did think this as I was reading it, and a few other creators have highlighted this, is that the parallels between this and Harry and Meghan are just astonishing. Podcast incoming. I'm joking. Because even when Brooklyn included his wife's, Nicola's surname with his, I remember at the time thinking, and God forgive me, I was thinking it's giving sim. But now it's making sense. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Anthony called me to the stage where in the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife. But instead, my mum was waiting to dance with me instead. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life. If that part is true, then I understand why people elope, because there is no way I'm having 500 people witness all of that. And side note, I know Mark Anthony is somewhere like, now why am I in it? Now, I don't really want to touch on who I believe more and everything, but Brooklyn's statement, it seems like it's coming from within, like he has been waiting for the right moment to unleash. Now, would I be surprised if all of what he said was the truth? Two things are for certain though. The PR manager probably right now is reminiscing on the last good sleep that they had, because the next couple of days, ooh child. And the second thing, the Channel 4, the Channel 5 peeps are hard at work right now on that expose. Beckham behind closed doors.
I think that Brooklyn Beckham is trying to be his own man. How can you be your own man and the guy when your dad is the David Beckham? I mean, that's incredibly hard to do. I think that he's removed himself because he's trying to understand who he is when he's not under the umbrella of being the son of David and Victoria Beckham. Remember, the Beckhams are an institution. They're like our royal family. Now, he's left that family to enter another one because I think he's trying to understand who he is as a person, as a man. Right? We are obsessed with the Beckhams and nostalgia, and it's an emotional relationship that I think the public have with them. We were not raised by them, so we have no idea what happens in their household. He will know because he was raised by them. We don't know whether he's suffocating under the umbrella of being their child. I mean, I imagine it's a lot. Remember, Brooklyn was meant to become a football player and it didn't really work out, so we don't know whether he feels like he failed. We have no idea. However, I also think I respect the fact that he's creating his own brand, Cloud23. He's trying to be a somebody. When you think about a lot of Nepo babies, what they struggle with is an identity outside of who their parents are. No one's really checking for them. We're checking for their parents though. And maybe, just maybe, he's just trying to understand who he is outside of being a Beckham. And remember, the whole world is watching. Look at the comments. Every time he posts something, people are like, you should be ashamed of yourself, your mum and dad. We have no idea what goes on in their house, but also it does not help when the public are getting onto him about him trying to possibly liberate himself. And maybe this is the issue. He's trying to liberate himself in a world that's telling him exactly what to do. Just my 2 cents.
I'm not saying that Nicola has nothing to do with this estrangement, but I do think that being the eldest boy in the Beckham family dynasty would have been a lot of pressure, and this may have occurred even if he never met her. From the beginning of his life, literally, Brooklyn was encouraged to play football just like his father. David wanted his eldest son to play football just like he did. This is very common with iconic sportsmen. LeBron James is doing it with his son. Cristiano Ronaldo's done it with his son as well. Brooklyn has said that football was his entire life from the ages of 2 to 16 years old. When he was 16, things came to an abrupt halt when he was released from Arsenal's youth academy. He said he never tried again after that because he realized that he would never be as good as his father. It didn't sound like he even really enjoyed playing it. He has said that it made him anxious. During this time period, there was also turbulence in the Beckham household, more than people really seem to know, though rapper Rick Ross clearly knew because he alluded to it in a 2016 song. For more on that, head over to my other channel where I go through it in great detail. So there's a lot of turbulence. Then he quits the sport that his father wanted him to play. Then, without any space to breathe or figure out who he is as a teenager, he's thrust into a new career. In 2016, when he was just 16 years old, David and Victoria arranged for him to shoot a campaign for Burberry's latest fragrance release. Yes, that Burberry, one of the most well-known brands in the world. I know what you guys think. I would love that opportunity. He should have been grateful. You would love that opportunity at the age of 24 or even 21. At 16, you're completely unprepared for it, and you certainly don't have the skills or the experience or the wherewithal to even pretend that you earned it on your own. Behind the scenes, the fashion photography set was up in arms. He was still a kid when David and Victoria hurried him into the public eye, and not just easing him in, literally chucking him into the deep end. They may have inadvertently put a target on his back. David and Victoria seem like the rare, nice celebrities. As I said, I have a deep dive on them on my other page, and the main theme is David's indiscretions. Nobody has a nasty thing to say about them personally, and I'm sure they meant well, but they had to have known that handing a teenager that big of an opportunity that they're nowhere near close to earning was going to draw a massive amount of negative attention to him. Even Kris Jenner didn't do that with Kendall and Kylie. Then, when he's still 16, by the way, David and Victoria get him a deal with Random House, the publisher, to release a photography book, not even a kid's book or a teen drama, a photography book. He barely had any experience, and so of course when the book was released a year later, when he's still a child by the way, it's widely mocked and ridiculed. I mean, he did give us this iconic picture and caption, but still, again, I can't believe that David and Victoria wouldn't have known that if those photos weren't excellent, it would result in Brooklyn being savaged by the press. But they put it out anyway and had the launch party at Christie's of all places. Then he enrolls in one of the most prestigious art and design universities, Parsons School of Design, in New York City, the greatest city in the world. Instead of buckling down and proving that he can really work hard, he dropped out after a year because he was homesick. Instead of saying, okay, this kid clearly doesn't know what he wants, it's time for him to get a job and find his own way away from brand Beckham, David and Victoria get him an internship with one of the most successful photographers in England, Rankin. He is not qualified or skilled enough for this opportunity, and reports soon emerged that other members of staff are sniggering behind his back because he doesn't even know the basics of the role that he's been handed by his parents. With the good intentions of trying to help him and also to keep the Beckham legacy going, they've actually hindered him because he's just not that guy, he's not a protege. Then obviously he decided to be a cook, and he was an adult by that point, so the decision to trade on the family name to get a show for his cooking was his own, but that's all he knew at that point. He didn't seem to realize that you can just do something for fun, you can have hobbies without them being career moves or PR strategies. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, we can see that it was only a matter of time before he tried to break away from the family system and become his own person, because this situation was untenable and was leading to widespread ridicule. Instead of taking some time to be by himself and explore what that's like, he seems to have traded one really strong family brand for another equally strong and in some ways even more intense family structure. And we'll see how that works out for him. I think this was bound to happen. My David and Victoria deep dive that is certainly not suitable for this app is up on my other channel. Tap my handle, first button.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you've just watched the video, please make sure you like, you subscribe and you comment. So I just came on here to give my opinion on the Brooklyn Beckham situation and also with the Nicola Pearce situation. Guys, I would say it's crazy, like the statement that Brooklyn did put out. So from numerous videos, people have been saying that most of the British media did side with the Beckhams. So even when he got married back in 2022, I was surprised. I was like, wow, like getting married this early at the age of 2023. And I mean, at the age of 2020, at the age of 23, like around 2022, it's like very, 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 very. I was like, wow, because he was 23 and Nicola is about 27. And guys, what the person was talking about, sometimes money is an illusion for these families. It's true, and we're seeing it happen in real time. They said where the family that the girl comes from has real money. I don't know what is real money. I can't believe I'm using that word. That word on its own is actually a little bit plain. So they're saying, of course, I've always known that she came from money, especially when he got married to her. Like both of them come from money, but Nicola comes from more money than Brooklyn. Even though people consider the Beckhams to be this very high in the British society, guys, are very high. Brooklyn and Victoria Beckham and David Beckham are very, very high on the totem pole of they are very high on the pole of British society. I'm pretty sure how they're calling him. Yes, David Beckham was previously knighted in England, like a knight. Like that's one of the highest honor you can receive. I also know of Mo Salah as well, but Mo Salah got his knightship very, very, very early. He has been knighted for more than 10 years in England. Of course, because he was like, Mo Salah is kind of like this long distance runner, and I'm like, he is British royalty. So in a kind of way, because he's a long distance runner and has won, I would say, 4 gold medals for long distance for Britain. So of course he had that night in, like, very early on. I think maybe it's what I've noticed as well. Like most of these sporters, they get their night in very early, because more than people who want it so bad. Well, Piers Morgan, because he says that will be his greatest honor to be knighted, and everything. But most of the people who get this are people who are sport legends or sport personas, or people who excel really well or exceedingly well in their, let's say, career and everything. I'm sure it's Anthony Joshua. Does Anthony Joshua have one? I don't know, but I know very well that Mo Salah is knighted, and he has been knighted for more than, let's say, 10 decades. I mean not 10 decades, for more than a decade right now. Like going on now, I'll say maybe a decade and a half. I don't know. But going back to the topic, I don't know. It's just crazy to me, because people were saying that she's acted in, like, the Nicola acted in Avatar. Guys, that Avatar was not really a nice movie. It was horrible. Like, that Avatar movie that we don't speak of ever again. That Avatar movie we don't speak of ever again. It was a horrible. Oh Jesus. It was a very, very horrible. One of the most, I think, like, movies like Avatar is one of the most difficult adaptation to adapt on screen. Like human intervention. I think the person that is gonna pull off, even the one that Netflix did, it was not really like, it's difficult, but it's gonna take immense hard work from a director who knows what they're doing to produce Avatar: The Last Airbender in movie form. Well, like a live movie of that will make people engage with it just as they engage with the cartoon. Well, going back to the topic, I don't know why I like to talk. Well, going back, she's also been in, like, movies like Bates Motel. Of course, she's not that great of an actor, but I mean, if you're a nepo baby, what should I say? So guys, this problem is a problem that it's a problem that has just been in the works for years. Like, see, I think it started in 2024. I think, of course, it already started when they were, like, let's say, when they were married already, 2022, 2023, 2024. But 2024 was when the real problem started, and when you started seeing a drift from the family and everything. So that was when the real problem started. That's like when the real problem started, like when they started, like, going jab for jab, not for not. Guys, to be honest, if you want to hear my opinion, I really don't care if they are fighting. It's not gonna add any dollar to me, is it? I don't care if they're fighting. I mean, it's just oh Jesus, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not serious. I shouldn't be laughing, should I? But it's their business, it's their business at the end of the day. So it's okay. I mean, yeah, guys, I mean, bye-bye. That's all I came to say, because I don't even know what I wanted to say. But I do identify with that lady who said, with Beckham money, like the Beckham family, what, let's say that like their worth mostly comes from the public. Why with real money, like with Nicola, their worth mostly comes from let's say, it actually is real money. They don't need to be, let's say, very loud about it. They actually have the money. It does not, whether they are popular or not, like, let's say the family that Nicola comes from is always gonna have money. It's always gonna make money. This is because I've just looked at his portfolio. Like, Nicholas, is it he had that? I don't know, because I did look at it, and I mean, the portfolio, it's outstanding. Like, it's crazy to me. But you know what, guys, I'm gonna end here, to be fair. I want to really give a very honest and well put together opinion, but I don't know if it will be appreciated. But I'll try my best next time. Guys, bye. Sorry for catching me on my most goofiest day. Bye bye. Oh my god.